You know what this is going to do?
And that's how you get pianos moved.
For people who can't... Welcome to Mission Stories, by the way. I'm Troy.
I'm Lyndon.
This is Lyndon. This is going to do two things. For people who are just listening, we're recording this using a better camera. This is two things. It's going to look better, just the quality of the video. Mm-hmm. And also, it's going to be much easier to edit, as in, I don't think there will be really any editing necessary, besides, like, the horrible things that I say that need to be, like, extracted.
We never take those out, though.
No, I leave them in. I leave them in, and various members of my family comment on them from time to time. My parents watch this now.
They watch it.
Yeah, they watch. I think that was the secret to getting them to participate in the ingestion of the podcast. Do your parents still listen to this?
Weird.
No. They stopped?
I don't think it wasn't really for them.
No. They're not like the target audience.
No.
Your mom listened to like for a bit though, didn't she?
You know, I think she will every now and then have a little listen.
She'll have her opinions about it. And she'll be like, get Troy off of that.
Yeah.
Off that podcast.
Troy says the darndest things.
Yeah, and I do. And that's half my...
What's going on over there?
I don't know. Yeah, this is going to be such a weird podcast, but I'm looking forward to it being seen by all.
Like, I don't know if I should ignore this or I should, like, I have some questions. It's like, what's your objective here?
To be able to do this. I just wasn't feeling I wasn't feeling this thing.
Stand.
Yeah. It just wasn't in a great position to...
Now we're doing like a talk show.
We're doing something. I mean, it always has been a talk show at its heart.
It's always been a talkie.
Yeah, well, a talkie is an old-timey movie with sound, with speaking. How you doing, Lyndon?
Pretty good.
Is this like a weird dynamic in this position? Like it's hard to speak to you, I find, when I'm like faced away from it. Like I got to be like looking right at you.
I'm doing very well, Troy.
Good.
And you?
Great. I mean, I can see you in the thing. Yeah, I'm doing all right.
How was your weekend?
It was good.
Did you get up to any shenanigans?
Several birthday celebrations. True and faithful listener Noel had a birthday, and so I think you were invited to that. You refused to come.
Right.
Why?
That was one of those things where I was like, oh, excuse me, where was my invite? And now I remember being invited and declining because I was out of town.
Right. Oh, where were you?
Cardston.
To temple things?
No temple
things. Were you hunting?
No hunting.
What could you possibly have been doing then?
Family dinner.
Going to Subway.
Drove by Subway.
Uh-huh.
Didn't actually go in.
Okay. Why not?
No one wanted Subway.
Okay. So you had like a real actual family dinner to go to.
Yes.
Okay. What did you said before we started you were raving about the various foods that were going to be available.
Right, because this was not a Nagless family dinner.
Oh.
So it was just,
oh.
There's no dietary restrictions.
Oh.
So it was just no holds barred. There were real potatoes to be eaten.
I mean, I don't want to like put you on the spot here, but it begs the question, you know, like I'd be irresponsible not to follow this line of questioning. Like it wasn't a Nagless family reunion. Whose family dinner was it then?
It was my girlfriend's family.
Oh, okay. Lyndon's got a girlfriend, ladies. Sorry.
Gentlemen don't care.
Gentlemen, stop
They
listening.
do care.
They do.
Because that's an immediate threat off the market.
Yeah. Now,
in me,
all you beta males can
relax.
Breathe a sigh of relief. The alpha dog, Lyndon Nagless, off the market.
Yeah.
Off that meat market and spending time in Cardston eating full-fledged, known dietary restriction dinners.
Pounded back all the gluten my body can take in.
And how did your body receive that?
Well.
Very well.
So that's why I couldn't go to all the true and faithful birthday parties on the weekend.
Yeah, I felt. You know what though? It was a nice opportunity for me to socialize without, my crutch.
Without me
being there. Yeah. Although I think we could have ripped it up. I think we could have shredded.
There was an instance of some family members being like, "Hey, this guy's really funny."
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "Wait till they see me with Troy." You think I'm funny by myself?
You think this is good? Check out my podcast.
Wait till we get the 1-2 punch.
Yeah, we got a good rhythm. I don't know if y'all have noticed, we've been putting a lot of stuff on Instagram. Did you notice, Lyndon?
I did. I've been liking all the clips.
I noticed, yeah, and I'm so proud of you. I'm just like, thanks, Lyndon. He's liking the clips.
I'm like, I love it.
What do you actually like them? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's I really don't know, because I'm just sort of like doing things and seeing how it goes. But I really don't know how it's going.
Well,
what do you think? It's only been like a week and a bit.
Well, you got to see how many views they get, how many likes.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten any feedback. People like, stop with the clips.
Right. So no
I'm
negative
sick of the
feedback.
clips.
Okay.
No.
I think
it's good exposure.
Week 1 was with Taylor, and she was all. They were about a minute long each.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there was some good. I think they're all decent if you have the patience enough to like actually listen. I understand most people don't have that kind of patience. So the second week's, Paula's, which is this week, as you're listening to. Well, actually no. So last week, if you're listening to this, it was Paula. And those are a little shorter, like 20 to 40 seconds long. It may not seem like much, but just getting to the punchline faster, getting to the point of the clip. And also I put little titles in it this week.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Little.
So now you can tell the difference. Because I did hear one complaint, someone who was at the, one of our, I don't know how true and faithful she is. Sure, Megan C. She was like, yeah, I didn't know, like they seemed like they were all like the same clip.
That's a good point.
Because the frame looked the same.
Well, the first time I saw the second clip, I was like, how have I not already liked this? And I was like, oh, it's not my little zinger joke.
No.
It's a different one.
Yeah. That was a good zinger. So anyway, if you have any thoughts about that, give us a... this is getting exhausting, by the way, holding this microphone. Like, I feel like I want something to hold it for me, but should I try this again?
I mean...
It's going to be too...
I could have told you've made a huge mistake.
You should have. That's fine. I'm like right on the edge of the frame, though. So many technical things. And then I got to, like, to look this way, I got to do this. So annoying. We have some, now I'm like too close to the mic. We have some,
Correspondence,
some emails. I figure like this can be here's the other thing with this thing. We're going to have to like take a break at some point, I think, just to like, cause the clip sizes are like only so large, and we've already been recording for like 11 minutes. I think it caps out at like, anyway, it gets upset. So this will be like a first, but we also have another first to take care of.
What's that?
And it's in the form of sort of an email as well.
Oh, right.
We have, you sold sponsorship.
Well, I didn't sell anything. Well, in a sense, I did.
You did, yeah.
For charity.
And so we have...
So let's not forget the opportunity cost that this is worth money.
Yeah.
So it was a true charitable donation.
Keep that in mind, people. People someday... Actually, look at this. We've had several emails from someone... I was about to say threatening, but like offering to monetize your podcast with Dynamo. So we're on like an email. They like, do the web crawl of like any email that says podcast in it, I'm sure. So anyway, we got some emails to read.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to read an email? I usually read them, but we can switch it.
Let's not get too wild with the changes
All
right
these
away.
changes. What do you think of all these doodads in the background?
I like it.
All right. First one is from Alex Williams. Oh, he's got he wrote a lot. Okay, so he says, hello. Hi, Alex. I appreciated your continued discussion of pornography. Now, didn't you say that some people did not appreciate that? Or they
Yeah.
they refused to listen based solely on the fact that
they listened to the one episode and then the next episode said porn recap. And they're like, is this the porn podcast?
Yeah, it is.
And it's just like we had to tie a nice bow on it, okay?
Yeah, we had to follow up. We like to follow up, okay?
So you
shouldn't
should have put that in the middle of the title.
Yeah, I honestly it constituted like a third of the episode though, so I feel like
Got to put it in the middle for the people.
It was honest, It was like, hey, if you listen, this is what you're gonna hear. But maybe
people are predictably irrational.
Yeah, so we need
so
to
you got to predict that irrationality.
That they don't think they're gonna want to hear it, but like once they start listening.
Yeah. Oh, they're going to want to hear it.
They're going to want to hear this. They're going to want to hear my hot takes and your hot takes on pornography usage.
Our speculation on... I think that's what we did.
Speaking of the pornography episode, Bryce Hardy.
Yeah.
Did you hear the news?
Engaged. I did not hear that. I speculated.
I like to think that it has everything to do with him appearing on Ching's thing. The YSA Single Adults of Calgary. Is that what it's called? What do you...
I would say it has everything to do with his appearance on this podcast.
And I was about to say on this podcast as well. Anyway, Bryce, congratulations if you're listening to this. If you're still a true and faithful, and if you still listen to this, congratulations to the both of you.
Congratulations.
And you're welcome. And anyone else who wants to get married,
come on the pod.
Let us know. Send us an email. Back to the email. Speaking of which, Alex says, I appreciated your continued discussion of pornography. Are you able to rank sins, or is bad just bad? Have you had any further thoughts about this, Lyndon?
Ranking sins?
Just like the spectrum of sins, like our sins, Well, I think we did a good job of like making the case that like, yeah, you can, and you probably should,
Yeah, well, I mean, there is the two ways to look at it.
Yeah.
Where, it's like all have sinned and come short of the glory of God.
Mm-hmm.
So any sin puts you in the hole.
Yeah.
And so all sin, no matter how big or small, is bad. So that is true.
Yeah.
And then the atonement can make up the gap between anyone. It's just like the lightness and the darkness. You sin, you're in the darkness.
Mm-hmm. But like, doesn't that...
But then the other point is like, pragmatically speaking,
mm-hmm.
some sins hamper your life more.
Yeah.
So it's like the guy that's like drinking coffee is doing much better for himself than the guy that's shooting heroin.
Yeah.
So it's like both are bad for you.
But like, but
one is gonna be practically worse for you.
Doesn't that lend to the idea though of like, if you start, it's like, okay, so I've looked at pornography. We're back on the porncast, guys. You look at pornography, you masturbate. It's like, okay, now I'm in. I guess I'll go hire a prostitute now. Like that's
like Brad
not a good
Wilcox
way to
said.
Just as Brad Wilcox instructed me to do. You know what I'm saying though? Like I feel like it's a false connection to think that like I've already come this far, I might as well. No, you're not. You shouldn't might as well. You've only like dipped your toe in. Get out of the pool. Don't like jump in because you're like, well, I'm already wet. Might as well continue to be wet and continue to, whatever.
Well, that's just bad logic.
It's bad logic.
Are you worried that people?
It's the sinner's logic, though. It's the like I'm already here.
The gambler's fallacy.
In for a penny, in for a pound, kind of thing. All right. So I think we've come to that. I think you should.
In
rank
this case,
sins-
in for a penny, in for a penny.
yeah,
In for a pound, in for a pound.
in for a penny, take your penny out. You
Take that penny back, give it to the Lord.
give it to the Lord as tithing for the 10 cents you earned by what can you earn? What will earn you 10 cents?
Well, I assume
100
it's like,
views of a YouTube video?
yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
For that YouTube video you've got. Okay, so I think we covered that very well. The lyric in "O Canada" changed to "In all of us command." Is that what you said?
Right, where I was worried
Yeah.
that it's like people are going to sing the new lyric. I don't even know the new lyric.
You were in a cold sweat during that meeting. You were freaking out.
Because I was like, if they sing the new lyric and I don't know it, I'm a
Yeah.
rube.
Yeah.
If they sing the new lyric, then the SJWs win.
And neither of those are ideal options.
So whatever happens,
yeah.
thank goodness it just played out
But
as I hoped.
it all played out. Okay. Okay. So he's
In all of us command?
In all of us.
Nah.
In all of us command. What?
No.
No.
I'd rather just sing the French version.
Is it different lyrics entirely?
Entirely different lyrics.
Holy smokes. Those French people. We love them and they're great. Okay, he continues on. And here in the USA, we did nothing for what they call Veterans Day. It was kind of sad, but I wore my poppy during the appropriate season and got to share a bit of what culture with people, correcting them. Share a bit of that culture with people, correcting people when they thought I was just being a weirdo wearing some flower. Did you wear a poppy? Do you wear a poppy? I always miss it. Every year I miss it.
I don't go
It's like
out
an
of
11.
my way.
It's like a 12, 11 day window where it's appropriate to wear a poppy. Did you know this?
I wore it on the 10th, and I saved it to wear it on the 11th on that Sunday.
On the 11th
and
hour.
I forgot it in my car.
You could have easily.
It was
gone to get
Remembrance
it.
Day,
And you
I
forgot.
forgot my poppy.
For shame.
I felt shame.
You should, as you should.
It was the appropriate response, and it's how I felt.
And you continue to feel it to this day. That was a hard Sunday for you. You were just trying hard to not disappoint our forefathers.
That's not even the end of it,
Where does it end?
because I was at that ward with my girlfriend's parents, and guess who showed up in the hallway after church?
Your ex-girlfriend.
My parents.
Your parents.
She's like, I'm just trying to sneak around and go to family ward.
Yeah.
And then my parents and my girlfriend's parents meet.
And how did it go?
Very well.
Perfectly. It was wonderful.
It was great. But
Um,
I'm just like, I forgot things. I was not prepared for the lyrics. And then this
And then-
unplanned meeting of parents.
parents met parents.
It was a rough day,
This is madness, I
It was
say.
but it all went fine.
You made it through, though.
Yeah.
I would not want to have been your Sunday shirt that day, as I'm sure it was drenched with sweat.
Yellow.
I had to burn it after.
Sure, it doesn't exist anymore.
It it was disintegrating off my body by the end of the day. Okay.
Does Alex continue? Or is
He
that...
does continue.
Okay.
I think they do most of their World War I and World War II on Memorial Day, like Lyndon mentioned. So you're right. Good job. I would be interested in hearing about the various geography theories. Oh, with the Book of Mormon. We should get into that. Not
This
today.
episode?
Not today. I am ill prepared. We could.
I can shoot from the hip for sure with that.
We can touch on it. Should we just touch on it right now?
Get people.
I feel like we're gonna roll up on a break here soonish.
Tell people at least tell them all our theories so they can be prepared for it.
Yeah.
Well, like when people say, "Where did the Book of Mormon happen?"
Yeah.
What do they always say?
Well, it's in the Americas, we know.
Yeah.
And or we think. And it's either, here's the thing, it's in one of like two spots. The one spot
I can think of like at least three.
Three?
Yeah.
It's right. It's either in Baja California or it's in like the Mayan place, wherever that is.
Like Central America.
Central
Meso-America. Middle America.
Meso-America, the Mayans, the Incas.
Guatemala, Panama, Mexico maybe.
Or it was all around like New York.
Yeah. Great Lakes, baby.
Baby, what do you think? If you had to choose.
The Great Lakes theory, I think, is the wildest theory. So it's my favorite.
Why is it wild?
Well, and it's based around all like Joseph Smith's prophecies, where it's like, hey, where was the Hill Cumorah, where the plates were buried?
Yeah.
Around the Great Lakes region.
Right.
So that's like a known location.
Yes.
And so all the people that believe in Meso-America are like, well, there were 2 Hill Cumorahs. And it's like, I don't know where you'd get that idea.
Why?
And, you know, like Joseph Smith, and then obviously this is a wild story where he finds a skull that's like 60 years old when they're like doing like the Zion's camp.
Is that Zelf you're talking about?
Yeah, and he like picks up the skull and he's like, this was a Nephite warrior.
Named Zelf. Yeah.
And they're like, why would the prophet make that up?
And everyone's looking around. They're like,
And it like boosted their morale.
I feel like Zelf is a kind of a, it's almost like a,
like an elven warrior or something.
I was gonna say it's the thing that like it like identifies enemies of the church who like use the name Zelf or something like
or like on Twitter handles or something.
Just because it was like shown that like that Zelf was not in fact a Nephite warrior.
No,
as Joseph claimed. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he was just like, guys, check this out. You know, everyone's like, I'm hungry. I'm tired. My feet hurt.
And they're like scared because they think they might actually like go to war.
I'm tired of eating shoe leather. And they, oh, hold on a second. Check this guy out. Oh, Zelf. And they're like, yay.
That's probably.
And they were further inspired.
Yeah. So they're like, here he is. There's a Nephite warrior, and we're warriors on the same path.
Yes.
In the same land. Fighting for what's right.
Yep.
Turns out that couldn't have been correct. But some people will take that as direct evidence.
Also,
people like me.
Yeah, I'll take it.
And you know all the prophecies about the Book of Mormon happening in the Americas.
Yes.
And they think that refers to a continent. They say no.
Okay.
It refers to, and this is the problem. They're like, it refers to like America, like the place with like the Constitution and the freedom.
United
freedom,
States.
You know, because they talk like the Book of Mormon prophesies of like the War of Independence.
Yes. Is that the
when the
from the British?
Yeah.
Didn't Joseph Smith prophesied the Civil War too? Did he not?
Yeah, sure.
Although that one was, it's like.
What does that have to do with Book of Mormon geography, Troy?
Nothing.
Stay on point.
Sorry. Book of Mormon
so that
geography.
that's kind of the idea of the Great Lakes region, and the idea that it's like they're like it was a thin strip of land between seas.
Yeah.
And if you ever seen the Great Lakes,
right?
They're like friggin' oceans.
So, and didn't they actually find? And this is kind of like one of the actual cool evidences for the Book of Mormon. Some of these evidences, I'll admit, they're kind of like corny. And it's like, just go on faith. It's like I'd rather go on faith than take that as an evidence sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But this is actually a cool one. They did a DNA test because there was like sort of this thing that came out a while ago. I think it was a Mormon who was trying to look for DNA evidence.
That's true. He was on John DeLynne's podcast.
And was he?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one. And doesn't he talk about like he was sort of the guy who discovered that like the American Indian or Native American or whatever indigenous people of the American continent have their ancestry is from like Asia or something.
I think his point was he was out to prove that there was no like Middle Eastern DNA.
Okay.
In like, if we're thinking of the same guy, where I'm thinking of the guy who tried to prove that there wasn't a connection
to the opposite.
Yeah, and so like he published that and got excommunicated, which he thought was kind of bogus.
It is a little bogue.
And so that was his little Mormon story. But then then eventually it came out. They're like, nope, DNA. It worked out. It was fine.
Yeah, the DNA. It was it's like a very specific branch of like Israeli people or Jewish people have this certain particular DNA marker, and like the only group of indigenous people in the United States or whatever, Canada, are around like the Great Lakes region.
Yeah, I did hear that.
Which is where Joseph Smith first sent the missionaries to go teach, I guess, I think, according to this YouTube video I saw once. So that's kind of cool. That's like a okay. Like even the most doubting doubter has to sort of stop and be like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Respect.
And they talk about like migratory. We're in it. We're not skipping anything. I think it's Meldrum is the guy that talks about Great Lakes.
Okay.
Because he talks about like the Book of Mormon. They talk about like the Lamanites living in tents, going after like migratory animals.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the biggest animal in Meso-America? It's like the tapir or whatever.
Tapir.
The tapir.
Yeah.
That little rodent.
Not a horse.
There's no migratory animals there.
No.
But what do they have over in the Great Lakes region?
Horses?
On the west side of some river.
Please let them be horses.
It's buffalo.
Okay.
Like the American bison.
All right.
So his theory was like the Lamanites, they like wore loincloths. Like they like were on the west side of the river Sidon.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that's the Missouri, the Mississippi, some river.
Yep.
That drains out of the Great Lakes.
Uh-huh.
And so like they lived in like tents or teepees, wore like buffalo hide, not armor.
No.
And they just like followed after buffalo, their migratory pattern. And then we got to resync up the audio with the video. This is a disaster.
It's fine, Lyndon. It's fine. Everything's fine.
No technical difficulties.
Okay. Let's go ahead. It's easier to find if there's two of them. And we're back. Thank you for your patience. That little hiccup. You won't even notice it.
It'll get smoothed right out.
It'll get smoothed out. So I guess we know somewhere around, 25, 30 minutes? Something like that.
Something like that.
Battery's doing good, though. That's not good to hear. So we were talking about tapirs. We were talking about... I was just about to bring up armor.
Right.
We have found...
What did they find?
Little to nothing.
They found some
armor-wise.
Viking.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of their point, is they found like a Viking sword out by Newfoundland or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like in really rough shape.
Yeah.
And they're like, so that's kind of like,
the idea being
that's like, so it's like the Nephites would be like, oh yikes, like, I don't know, like a whole other 1,000 years, like 1,500 years before that.
But
so that's like,
I thought
like,
they
good
found,
luck. Good luck finding anything of theirs was kind of the point.
I heard this other thing though, where there was like when the Romans.
This isn't stainless steel.
True.
This stuff is like going back to the earth after
that's
2,000 years.
All right. Okay.
Is their claim?
I heard this other thing though, that there was Roman soldiers who had made their way up, to. Sorry, just got paranoid there for a second. About the audio not recording. It is. So the Romans though, they like made their way up into like Britain or whatever, and I think they made it to Newfoundland. Are we thinking of the same story here?
That is a fictional novel that they use as evidence against the Book of Mormon. Okay. Spalding.
Well, no, because there was an actual. I don't know exactly where they were talking about, but there was an archeological find where
they found like a Roman sword in Newfoundland.
Several. Like there was sort of like there was a. It looked as though a small skirmish had occurred and a number of people had died, and they all in the same region. They found a number of swords, shields, armor, things like that. The argument against the Book of Mormon was, how come in this tiny little battle we found like 18 swords, 10 helmets or whatever. Whereas we're talking like hundreds of thousands of people in the Book of Mormon fighting each other, and we have found very little evidence of that. Even though, like, there's in the record, it's like, there's armor and there's swords and there's shields and everything, in opposition to the Lamanites, who had little to nothing on their bodies as they fought.
Buffalo hides, allegedly.
Buffalo hides. Of course, there is the whole idea that there was a great upheaval of Earth, right? That like a lot of things were broken up and torn up. This is where if that's the case, I have a feeling like it's probably not Great Lakes though. Then in that case, because like very little of that type of activity occurs in that region. More in the like.
Oh, but you know what
California.
region that does happen? Baja California.
Yeah, so that does lend itself to that area being more in line with where it may be. Because I could see that happening, right? Like you have the big battles. And also, and this is always like a problem with historical figures documenting numbers and stuff, is that they vastly overestimate what those numbers actually were. Even like the historical people, because they don't actually know numbers, or even like the people who translate it have sort of a false idea about what the volumes of people involved in a particular conflict might have been.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a possibility as well. So that's I don't know. I mean, like it's something. I think it's good to deal with it. I think it's good. It's not good to ignore these things,
Well,
Try to find an answer.
There was a guy I met on my mission.
Uh-huh.
And he said, and he was a married man, and he's like, you're allowed to have one crazy thing.
Okay.
He's like, as a responsible adult male, married man, father,
Yeah.
you get to have one crazy thing.
What was his?
His was aliens.
Ooh.
His was all like UFOs and aliens. Like he would go out chasing after like flashing lights with his camera. He was always trying to catch UFOs.
Yeah.
And that was his like nutty thing he did. And he admits, he's like, this is crazy.
Uh-huh.
But he was obsessed with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, so what's your crazy thing going to be? And I was like, Book of Mormon geography. This is going to be the crazy thing I obsess about.
Who was the guy? Because I don't even know when this would have been. Probably a year ago now, when I'm like over at your place, like ranting about this stuff. And you were talking about some guy who was a Book of Mormon apologist geographer dude.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember who that was? Because I've sort of been like wanting to look up this particular guy, but I forgot who it was.
Is it, the Great Lakes guy or the Baja guy?
I think it's the Great Lakes guy. The Baja came and like spoke.
Yeah, because he's from like Cardston or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's Rod L. Meldrum.
Meldrum. That sounds familiar.
I mean, you can just look up like Great Lakes Book of Mormon geography and he'll like pop up.
And it's all about like the mounds.
Yeah, because they talk
earth.
about like the mound people, because
Yeah.
there's like an extinct race of natives
Right.
in the Great Lakes region. And all of their like structures that they find, kind of mounds,
Yeah.
they're like in the same dimensions as like the Temple of Solomon.
Interesting.
Because that's kind of his point, was that because they talk about like cities burning.
Yeah.
And he's like, Aztecs, Mayans, they all had like stone buildings, and like the great Mayan temples are nothing like Solomon's temple.
Yeah.
Where he's like, the Nephites built all their stuff out of like wood.
Yeah. And then it got
Like wood and
burned
mud
down.
and stuff.
Right.
And so, and like piles of earth. And that's how like Solomon's temple was built up. They had to like raise up a certain level of earth, and then, so that kind of all matched up. And the fact that those people don't exist anymore.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a cool connection, actually. Cool connection. All right. I say...
Did we ever finish Alex's email?
We did.
Okay.
We covered it all. We got some
Gotcha.
more emails. Let's kind of go through them, and then we can circle back around.
Give
here.
the people what they want.
I don't know if you remember this, Lyndon, but months ago, I'd say at this point, the Lord of Darkness, the fallen angel, Lucifer, Satan, emailed us. And,
he has been known to do that.
So he's emailed us again.
Okay.
And he says, according to this email, he's actually quite anti-pornography. In fact, the subject line of the email reads, "You can be pornography," and he highlights like free is like FREE,
right?
Like free of pornography. He says, "Hey boys, Satan here. Let me just say, these last 2 podcasts have really hit home for me. The struggle is real. # porn kills love." Of course, Satan would use that hashtag. "Trust me when I say that if I can kick that habit, you can too. My addiction started right around the spring of 1820. It pulls me away from work for 1 minute and boom, church gets restored. I've been fighting the consequences of that decision for years now. I'm about 200 years sober now and never felt more productive. Anyway, thanks for being so open about the subject. You guys are great. Forever yours, Lucifer Matthew Satan." His middle name's Matthew.
Checks out. It's a biblical name.
Weird.
Makes sense for him.
Strange. Well, thank you, Satan, for emailing in.
That is a diabolical message.
Yeah. But it's like a good message, too. It's weird. That's how Satan works. He throws a little bit of truth, stay away from the porn. But also, he's like...
saying the restoration...
Porn is the reason. Porn is the reason that the restoration occurred. Okay.
Shaking my head over here.
SMH?
Was ever... What a crafty message.
Let's just move on. Let's not dive too deep into that one.
Very satanic.
So this is from Andrew Cacao, former guest, true and faithful. "Hey guys, wait, I have not read this, by the way. So we'll see how it goes.
This is happening live.
Hey guys, way to go. Do you ever think you'd get more female listeners if you didn't spend the first half hour awkwardly flirting with women whenever they come on your show? Just a thought." What is flirting? Like, I'm flirting with you right now. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand this, and he knows how to rile me up.
It's true. He likes to push your buttons.
And he's riling me up, and I'm riled. I'm riled right up. But I'm just like, what is the difference between a man and a woman? That's the only difference, I think. I don't know, unless you think different. Do you think I'm actively flirting with women on the podcast?
I think you're doing just fine.
Okay, then. Moving on.
Maybe we would get more female listeners. Maybe we'd get more if you flirted harder.
I will do that. All right. I can't believe you had 2 Spanish-speaking guests in a row, but have steered clear of the hard questions. Hard questions like, why are Spanish-speaking RMs the way that they are? Good question. When I was 18 and started going to YSA, there were 3 guys who came home from Spanish-speaking missions. In Elders Quorum, they'd pull out their Spanish hymnals and sing the opening hymn in Spanish over everyone else. I think I know who those people were.
Like Andrew Cacao's age group?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we had people in our own age group that were known colloquially as the white Mexicans.
Right.
But that's like after Andrew's time.
It's true. I think
so. He's right. There are like Spanish RMs. They are the way they are.
Just obnoxiously like, I served my mission in a Spanish-speaking country. I don't see that quite as much anymore, to be honest, though.
Yeah, like they used to always like pray in Spanish in Elders Quorum.
Yeah. It's like, what is it? What do you?
It's like, get out of here with that.
You're home now. You're home now.
This ain't Panama.
This ain't Guatemala.
Uruguay.
This isn't.
You're right. We missed.
That's from a movie.
We went easy on him.
This isn't. And the quote from the movie is like, "This is." Oh, it's from The Departed. That's what it is.
Well, you better finish the quote then.
Oh, I forget it. What is it? It's Jack Nicholson, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, this isn't reality TV. And I think that was an improv that he did in that film.
Well, good for him.
Moving on.
One of my favorite movies, by the way.
Good film.
Yeah.
That doesn't compare to the time I went to a Taco Del Mar with a Spanish-speaking RM, and he tried to order in Spanish. The East Indian server gave him a puzzled look. I guess he assumed that anyone with darker skin working at a Mexican chain restaurant must be Mexican.
Oh, boy.
I guess that particular individual must have assumed that. We don't.
We don't.
Not here.
Because we're reasonable people who didn't serve Spanish-speaking missions. So we have our heads on straight.
He says, I can't be the only one with stories like this. I'm sad you guys went a week without an episode. Troy, you can always call me when Lyndon goes hunting. Yours, truly and faithfully yours, Andrew. Thanks, Andrew. You know what?
Well, hunting season's over.
Hunting season's over, so...
Oh, that reminds me. I was going to bring you a little Christmas gift.
Oh.
A little package of deer sausage.
Brought to you by Deer Sausage.
This episode.
Guess we can't sell that, though, can we?
That would be illegal, so we would never sell that to the true and faithful.
Just winked. All right, we got one more email, and it's kind of a special email.
Special one.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to... So this is an ad that we
auctioned off some ad space
at a service
auction
at your ward.
At the Brentwood Ward.
So
I've said too much.
How does it work?
Here's the thing. I was not in attendance.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how it works.
Okay.
But the story goes, I get a phone call.
Yeah.
From some guy.
That you don't know.
And he's like, is this a good time to talk about the ad for the podcast?
Yeah.
And I had completely forgotten about all of this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, not really. Hit us up with an email. Because I was busy.
Right.
I was busy and I had forgotten what this was about.
Yes.
And then as soon as I hung up, I was like, that's right. I sold off some airspace.
Yeah, you did. 30 seconds.
30 seconds, and we've spent 45 seconds talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Who's it? What?
Should we do it?
Because did he type out exactly what he wanted us to say?
He didn't give us copy. He just gave us guidance.
Yeah, because I did mention, I was like, 30 seconds ad space. We'll even write copy for you.
Are you ready to write some copy right now?
Let's do it.
Okay. I just kind of want to read his email just out loud. Hello. Do we say who it is? Does he want it? Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's from Carl Day. Hey, Carl. This is your ad starting now. Hello, on November 26, 2018. Oh, this guy's great. He puts full date.
Yeah.
He says he purchased a 30-second ad spot on your podcast, Brentwood auction, blah, blah, blah. The details are as follows. He wishes to advertise his YouTube channel, Super Mario Carl. Ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Super Mario Carl. It's a YouTube channel. Ever been on YouTube, Lyndon?
I have been on YouTube.
What's like the funniest thing you can think of?
Oh my goodness, there's this one channel.
Uh-huh. What's it called?
Super Mario Carl. I hope that's what it's called. And he's always up to zany things.
Yeah, he's a zany guy.
He's always like, look at me.
He's a zany
Super Mario
guy.
Carl.
Well, hey, listen. If you want to get there, it's https://www.youtube.com/user/Super Mario Carl. Spelt SuperMarioCarl. Or you can just search Super Mario Carl.
That would be a lot easier.
Yeah. Please, so there's no spaces or capital letters in that. He's so he's been running this for 9 years. This YouTube channel.
9 years.
9 years. He currently has 84 subscribers, and he's trying to get it to 100.
How do we get Carl up to 100 subscribers? We need the true and faithful to like power through and get this done.
Yeah. So go do that. Go to YouTube. We'll wait here while you do that. We won't. We'll just keep going. Okay, hold on. The thing's about to screw up again.
Oh no.
Dang it. Or it'll just whatever.
We're fine.
We'll do this. Whatever. Okay. So
This is coming out of Carl's ad budget.
sorry, Carl. Anyway, go do that. Go subscribe and go watch his videos. 9 years worth of videos, Lyndon. We can only hope and pray that Mission Stories lasts 1 year.
And then we'll be buying ad space on his YouTube channel.
That's right. So thanks, Carl. There's your ad. Hope it works. We'll see. I would love to know how this turns out if people actually... So, like, if you're listening and you have any interest in YouTube at all, actually go do this and actually go subscribe and then we're going to talk to Carl and we're going to see if we have any influence at all. This is a good, test, you know?
Everything here is a test.
Uh-huh. This is like a test episode. That's all the emails we have for today. I don't know, Lyndon, what else? I think we're getting close to being maybe done. Is there anything else you wanted to sort of, in closing, discuss or talk about? Interesting.
I mean, unless you wanted to just keep deep diving into the geography.
Sure. What else what other aspects of it are there?
We didn't even talk about Baja California.
Well, what is the Baja California thing?
So here's the story.
Okay.
It comes from a local legend.
Who's that?
I can't remember. I think it's Brother Rosenthal or Rosen something.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
He's famous. So when you open up the LDS, little app for your scriptures,
Yeah.
someone had to digitize the scriptures.
Is that him?
Yeah. They didn't just magically go from a paper copy to a digital copy. So back in the day, it was like him and his son were contracted by the church to digitize the scriptures.
Why? Why them? Because they knew somebody. See, this is a pet peeve that I have in the church. It's a lot of a guy, and you get a church contract. It's like a government contract. Cronies giving their brothers-in-law government or church contracts to redo the gym floors and to digitize the scriptures. And
are you saying digitizing the scriptures was a useless endeavor?
I'm over here saying I want a gosh darn church contract to do an official podcast called LDS's.
You want some transparency?
I'm just jealous. I just want one of those contracts, one of those cake contracts. Anyway,
so they did that. Well, I think they were some sort of scholars.
Yeah.
So his point is, he says, the Book of Mormon is not a geological primer. It's a spiritual primer.
Okay.
But there are some geological clues in there.
Mm-hmm.
So he talks about Nephi and his family took seeds and stuff from the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
It's and the only climate like that is Baja California. He talks about how it's 80% of the produce people eat in America is grown in Baja California.
Okay.
It's a Mediterranean climate.
Right.
And so
only seeds from the Mediterranean, from that region they came from, could only have grown in a Baja area.
Well, just in a Mediterranean climate.
Okay.
So it's Southern California probably would have worked as well.
Okay.
Well, Baja California is basically just Southern California.
Right.
Not the Great Lakes region.
Okay.
And Meso-America also is kind of more subtropical or something.
Do we know where Baja is? Do you know where that is?
Baja California?
Is it
Gulf of Mexico? So California.
Yep.
And then Tijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that little strip of land that sticks out. And Cabo San Lucas is at the bottom, popular destination.
Okay.
And there's a Gulf of Mexico. There's a little bit of sea.
We should do a map overlay right here. And we could be should point to it.
There's Baja California.
See? Right here or here.
So it's Tijuana is at the top.
Okay.
So
Of
there's,
Mexico.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The top of Baja California.
Okay.
Baja, I think in Spanish is
it?
under.
Okay.
So it's under California is like the literal translation.
So it's not actually California.
No,
It's Mexico.
it's a part of Mexico.
Okay.
Which
That's confusing.
Brother Meldrum would be like, can't be where the Book of Mormon happened because Mexico is not America.
Meldrum.
So he kind of just goes off like geological stuff where it's like, it's like, are there like ores? Is there like, rocks and ores to like craft these weapons there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it the climate where they could grow the food there? Yeah. Is there like sea? Is it a thin strip of land with sea on both sides? Yeah.
So it's the place then.
Yeah.
You
It's
heard
like,
it here first.
are there like large animals that they can go hunt? Yeah, there's like deer and like mountain sheep.
Right. No horses at that
live
time,
there.
though.
You're really stuck on this horse business.
Sorry, I'll stop bringing it up. I'm willing to buy that. Here's another thought. What if it's all of the places?
What if it
it's
was
all of
everywhere?
them? What if it was Meso-America? What if it was Baja? What if it was the Great Lakes? I mean, if there were as many people, because you in the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, what, did Mormon just go on a continental-wide tour collecting all these accounts?
It's possible.
The only one we know to be 100% false is Meso-America.
How's that?
And all those people, it's just a scholarly conspiracy.
Dr. Peterson, who came to visit us at the conference, that's his thought.
Yeah.
I heard him tell someone that.
Because he gets grant money to say that. Because if you ever step out of line and say not Meso-America, you're going to lose your research funding from BYU.
You lose your church contract money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think Rosenthal is digitizing scriptures anymore since he's come out with Baja California?
I don't know, but we're about to end on our battery, and I think we've...
We're started Book of Mormon geography and Book of Mormon conspiracies.
Let us know what you think. Email us your thoughts. The battery will die at some point very soon here, so thank you so much. Lyndon, sign us out. What do you think? What's on?
Regardless of what theory of geography you ascribe to, what is important is that you stay true and faithful.
Bye-bye.